Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today in this video, I will be going over one of my favorite 10 top heavy weapons in Pixel Gun 3D. Before we get started on this video, please make sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe to my channel. This video is just based on what weapons I like personally. So let's get right on. Top number 10. Frozen Heart. This is one of my favorite weapons in the game because it's really OP and has good capacity. It's satisfying when shooting at the enemy. It has a big area damage and it's a one-shot or two-shot kill, but different modules makes this a one-shot kill, but all that depends on the modules. It does more damage than other heavy weapons, but doesn't matter if got nerfed. I totally recommend it. Top number 9. Maximum Cruelty. This weapon is underrated, and it's a decent damage. This has a good damage, but it also got buffed. This has tons of damage, and has splash damage. It kills enemies with or explodes. The charge times goes fast. It's a one-shot or two-shot kill, but the close range or mid-range of this weapon takes a lot of damage. But it's not the worst weapon to use in the game, because players don't use this weapon a lot. Players that have level X modules, but I think that it's really good. Top number 8. Big Buddy. This weapon is one of my favorite weapon in the game. It's a old classic weapon that players don't use this weapon a lot. This weapon was introduced for a long time ago. Gotten OP, most players would spam it. This was always a one-shot kill at the body or at the head. But the close range was 245 damage at the head or the body, and mid-range was 156 damage. But with armor, it's a two-shot kill and reduced damage. But it does a lot of damage without armor. But it's a lower damage, and that's why people don't use this weapon anymore. I mean, if I'm wrong then yes. It was now nerfed because ever since it was really OP back in the good old days. The reloading on this weapon is slow because I would have to wait until it reloads when shooting. But back then the area damage used to be humongous, and it would take out 2 players or 3 with a one-shot kill. For me personally, I would always wanted to get the Big Buddy before because I was so jealous at how other people have the Big Buddy. Because it would be overpowered. The weapon is still enjoyable to use in the game. Top number 7. Event Horizon. I recently got this weapon from the chest. It's a good kill with a one-shot or two-shot kill, but if the bullet hits the enemy but in open spaces. But with a huge direct damage and pierce, it will be good for small maps. It takes a lot of damage, but with the armor would take less damage. But with level modules it will be more powerful and OP. The weapon looks satisfying because this reminds me of Space Planet on this weapon. But overall, I still totally recommend it. Top number 6. Quadruple Death. This weapon is one of my favorites in the game. It's really underrated too. Most players don't use this weapon. It's not the best weapon in the game, but I would still recommend it. It has a slow fire rate and capacity is good. It's a two-shot kill at the body and head. The damage is not really high, but the area damage takes a lot of damage when shooting. Level modules could be more overpowered, but depending on the modules. With armor, it could be a 3-shot kill at the body. But making this weapon into a mythical could be more less powerful. But overall this weapon is fun to use and buying with coupons. Most of the time it does not take much more damage, it just for me personally. Top number 5. The Enchanted Crystal of Ancients. The weapon is really underrated. Because it has multiple shots and it's a 6-shot kill. It's satisfying when shooting this weapon. This takes a lot of damage, but the close range is 230 damage. This is similar to the control drone system. They both have multiple shots and manual guidance. But the Enchanted Crystal is better because it's the best weapon to use, it just for me personally. It could be easy to obtain by grinding a lot of silver in the clan battles. But overall, the weapon is decent damage. When this weapon came out, a lot of players were using this weapon, especially Block Crash. I spend a lot of my silver just for getting this weapon in the clan store. This weapon is pretty good to use. And it's pretty lit. Top number 4. Invincible Lion. This weapon is incredible to use, but it has very high damage. I remember when I bought this weapon. Players would always spam this weapon a lot because it's so godly to use. It has a good area damage and capacity is good. The damage on the body, at close range would be 257 damage with a super punch. This weapon has fast fire rate. The invincible lion has strong super punch because of the faster travel and decent damage. The weapon has more capacity because every 2 shots that players hit it gives super punch. The weapon is better for me because it has more damage with a super punch and it's underrated too. But it is easy to obtain with coupons or traders van. For me personally, I would rather buying with coupons, instead of spending 700 gems on traders van. It's just my opinion. These weapons are just fun to use, but depending on the weapons if they are underrated. Top number 3. Temple Guardian. This weapon is one of my favorites in the game. I haven't used this weapon in a long time. I don't even know if devs did nerf this weapon. When I got this weapon, it was so OP and I got a lot of kills with it. The fire rate is really good, because the rockets goes fast. I think devs did increase the damage to make it a little bit more powerful. Players would get annoyed by using weapon because it's so godly. But overall most players don't use this weapon that often. I find this weapon so enjoyable to use. It's also satisfying when shooting this weapon. Top number 2. Destruction System. The weapon is really overrated. Because it has no rocket jump and the rocket take forever to hit the target. I don't know if I am wrong about this. Leave a comment down below. What's your opinion about this weapon? This weapon has no input delay because people could able to use it for their 3-cat spam. Although this weapon does a lot of damage, it's also good for a rare armor and without modules. But with level modules would be more less damage. When I first got this weapon from the event, it was kinda hard to aim at the player. I didn't get a lot of kills with this weapon, but I wouldn't say it's a terrible weapon. I think devs did rework the area damage. It was weird to use because players didn't even get damaged by themselves. But I still recommend it. Top number 1. The Project Red button. I recently made a video of this weapon. This weapon is really fun to use and it's also satisfying. I've been grinding a lot to try to get this weapon from the chest. For me personally, I would think that it was impossible because it was a lot of 10 parts to get this weapon and trying to get some more XP. But overall, I tried my best to grind more, but it wasn't that hard often. This weapon has a good capacity and good damage. The animation of this weapon has a shield, but it can reduce damage to 10%. From the enemy, the damage is 2-shot guaranteed without modules. But the shield after reload is kinda useless because players would have to use wall break, but at least it protects you from the area damage. Well, that was it for all of this video. I went over my top 10 weapons in this video that I like personally. Leave a comment down below which weapon is your favorite in Pixel Gun 3D. Please make sure to drop a like on this video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. So bye.